So there are two things that I wanted to bring up at the start of this video. Two things that are kind of not really related, but in a way sort of play off of each other. It's complicated. So part of the reason I'm making this video in particular is because we had ourselves a list that was floating around social media that I actually saw end up getting posted onto the Calgary Flames subreddit. Now, I know I'm a Canucks fan, don't go out there asking me why I'm on the Flames sub of all things, but this graphic was made yesterday, and it was posted on the Flames sub. It has 85% upvotes at 177 at the time of recording this audio. Let's take a look at the graphic. The Flames at number 1 is actually insane, TBNSK74 says. The graphic says this: here is a list of least desirable teams for a free agent right now based on the roster, future, and city. 10-1 goes Vancouver, the Islanders, the Capitals, Predators, Blues, Flyers, Sharks, Coyotes, Jets, and then you have the Calgary Flames on top. They are, in the words of the person who made this graphic, the least desirable team for attracting free agent talent right now. And this graphic was posted onto the Flames sub, and the Flames commenters had a field day in terms of analyzing why this may be the case, why it may not be the case, why the graphic is right or wrong. It's all over the place. Of course, some of the commenters are disagreeing, saying, why would they say this? This is not really true. Coyotes should be number 1. Oh, this list doesn't really matter, etc., etc. Then you had yourselves a comment from Equipment These saying this: thanks, Lucic. I know he was answering a question, but he really put that out there, and somehow we're worse than the Jets. I think the comments like Lucic made really change perceptions. Even if he was to say, hey, it's a great city and one of the best in Canada, but he's like, it's cold, small, etc., etc., it does show his true feelings, even though he was just answering a question. He's not at all to blame, but he was part of the problem, and probably communicated like that behind closed doors. Lucic stands don't come for me, it's just my opinion. Some of the replies go out there and say this: I think you're giving Lucic too much credit. Unfortunately, having dealt with the Flames' education department, they just don't come across as a well-run organization. You have another comment saying that Tkachuk and Gaudreau basically said the same thing. And I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, Lucic? What are we talking about here? What comments did Lucic make? Well, you're in luck, because MSN.com, yeah, that's right, MSN, remember the messaging service? They have a website now. MSN.com has an article on it published by Martin Azrak describing this entire thing. Here's what Milan Lucic says on why Flames players won't stay in Calgary. The link is going to be in the description if you want to go ahead and read this entire article. It's apparent that this actually might just be a piece made on Fansided, but it was cross-posted onto MSN.com. I'm not really too sure how it works, but that appears to be the case. We have ourselves former Calgary Flame and current Boston Bruin Milan Lucic, who had an interview on the Eric Francis show. The 35-year-old forward reflected on his 4 years in Calgary, reignited his love for hockey, and how he and his family embrace the city and its fans. He also praised his former teammates, calling them some of the best in his career. This, however, is the quote as to why Flames players won't stay in Calgary. I enjoyed my time in Calgary, and I embraced it, and I think it's a great place to stay and live, and when the Chinook winds come through in the winter, it makes it real nice. When teams come in, it's usually cold. Even though we all love the Saddle Dome, it's old. That's the main thing. It's a smaller city. There's not much going on other than the Flames. It's not like on a day off, you can go to an NBA or an MLB game. The travel? It's tough travel. Again, I'm just trying to give you an honest answer about what guys think about. And that's pretty telling as to what Milan Lucic is feeling about the entire situation, because when it comes to Calgary, of course, we had seen the past few years. Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk, they ended up wanting to leave, they both left. Now this season, you had yourselves even more calamity with other big-name players deciding to take their talents elsewhere. Milan Lucic did not resign, but of course, Lucic is not the biggest name out there, so we'll give him the pass. I'm referring instead to the Tyler Toffoli's out there. The word that we got that Hanifin, Backlund, these guys all did not want to re-sign with the team. You had Mitch Love and Matthew Phillips both leaving to Washington after Flames fans were kind of excited to see them transition into the National Hockey League. And all the crap about Daryl Sutter coming out and how his presence might have influenced some of the players on the team to not want to stick around, it made the entire optics of the situation much worse. Now, I get it, Sutter is gone, and we had some players reportedly rescinding their trade requests, but the fact that there were even trade requests in the first place kind of make out how poorly this situation had been handled. In fact, speaking about Daryl Sutter, this is what Milan Lucic said. He talked about Sutter in the same interview. I'm a huge Daryl Sutter fan. Honestly, out of all the coaches I played for, I think he's the best and smartest coach I've played for. The way he breaks the game down, the way he brings the game forward, I've never seen anyone do it the way he does. With the communication part, it's very interesting. He's very old school in a lot of ways, very set in his ways. I've only had great experiences with him. However, when it comes to the other stars of the team, we had seen what Huberdeau had to say, we had seen what Kadri had to say. This team just was not fitting with Sutter's style towards the end of his tenure with the team. And, I mean, look, just like Tyler Toffoli, Milan Lucic has had Sutter multiple times. He had him in LA for the short stint that Lucic was a king, and then, of course, he had him here with Calgary. It's just really interesting when you acknowledge that even though Sutter was, let's just say, well-liked by Toffoli and Lucic, you still had the former end up not wanting to re-sign with the team. And if it really does boil down to some of the things that Milan talked about, okay, it's the old arena, there isn't much to do, there's no MLB team, it's really cold, things like that. It's really painting Calgary in much more of a different light than we had seen a few years ago. When you had the Tanevs and the Markstroms heading over there, and even last year when you had Kadri, you had the freed up money because Gaudreau and Tkachuk didn't want to re-sign. So this team kind of turned things around quickly, and I don't want to go out there and make it seem like it's always been like this. I mean, this list that was posted onto the subreddit was just from a few days ago, and it's just one guy making his own opinion known. For what it's worth, Milan Lucic's comments may not have had any impact on this. Maybe this guy who made the list just felt that way the entire time. Oh, Calgary is cold and there's nothing to do, it's in the middle of nowhere, this and that. And like, I get it, people are used to different things, especially for Milan Lucic, who is from Vancouver. A little bit different over here than it is over there. But when it comes down to it, this is a team that has a lot more difficulties nowadays than they had in any other time in the past. They need prospects, they need talent that wants to stay committed to their team because all the ones that they've got are deciding to leave. Either they're going to get traded away soon because they don't want to re-sign, or some of them already got traded away. Tyler Toffoli, man, what a loss for the Calgary Flames. Although, under the circumstances of them already knowing that he didn't want to stick around, okay, I guess it makes a little bit more sense. But either way, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What are your opinions about the idea that the Calgary Flames are the least desirable team to play in the National Hockey League? What are your opinions about the comments made by Milan Lucic, talking about how even though it's fun and he enjoyed his time in Calgary, it's old, it's cold, and there may be reasons as to why players would not want to come over to this city. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.